The Sisterhood Revolution, how Black women supporting each other changes everything. I recently had the incredible opportunity to sit down with Caramel Grai, a visionary whose work has fundamentally transformed how we understand solidarity among Black women. Caramel isn't just a thought leader, she's a movement catalyst who has dedicated her life to dismantling the toxic competition that has kept Black women from recognizing their collective power. Her insights aren't merely theoretical, they are battle tested wisdom that has helped thousands of women break free from isolation and embrace the revolutionary potential of sisterhood. When Caramel speaks about Black women supporting each other, she doesn't just inspire hope, she maps out a future where our unity becomes our greatest strength. Have you ever noticed how perfectly engineered our society seems to be when it comes to keeping Black women divided? It's almost architectural in its precision. We're conditioned to believe there's only room for one of us at the table. Only one can be the first, the only, the exceptional one. This scarcity mindset isn't some unfortunate accident of culture, it's a deliberate design feature of systems that benefit from our division. But what happens when we collectively decide to reject that narrative? What occurs when we embrace the radical notion that your crown doesn't diminish mine and my success actually creates more space for yours? Everything, and I mean everything, changes. During my conversation with Caramel, three transformative themes emerged that have continued to reverberate in my mind: the revolutionary power of authentic sisterhood, the urgent necessity of confronting our internalized oppression, and the unstoppable force created through collective resilience. Let's talk about real sisterhood first. Not the performative kind that populates our social media feeds, where we post support Black women graphics while secretly harboring resentment toward the sister whose promotion we coveted. I'm talking about sisterhood with substance, the kind that shows up without being asked, the kind that holds space when words fail, the kind that says, I see your struggle and I refuse to let you face it alone. Dr. Shaven R. Arlene Bradley exemplifies this principle through her transformative leadership of the National Council of Negro Women. When Carmel highlighted Dr. Arlene Bradley's work, I was profoundly struck by the organization's extraordinary reach, uniting Black women across an age spectrum from 9 to 98 years old. Just pause and visualize that for a moment. Four generations of Black women standing in unbroken solidarity, creating not just programs, but a living legacy of mutual support and fierce advocacy. Founded in 1935 by the visionary Mary McLeod Bethune, the NCNW has spent nearly 9 decades fighting tirelessly for Black women's economic empowerment, educational advancement, and social justice. Today, their presence extends across 100 college campuses, creating vital spaces where young Black women discover mentorship, guidance, and perhaps most importantly, a sense of belonging in environments that weren't designed with them in mind. But what makes the NCNW truly revolutionary isn't just its impressive longevity or expansive reach, it's the fundamental principle that animates everything they do. When one Black woman rises, she doesn't rise alone. She brings her sisters with her, creating a continuous upward spiral of collective advancement. As Carmel emphasized during our conversation, the NCNW doesn't just theorize about empowerment, they actively create the conditions for it. They understand that sisterhood isn't a passive state of being, it's a daily practice of showing up, speaking up, and standing firm generation after generation. This brings me to the second critical theme from our interview: The essential work of confronting internalized oppression. Let's be brutally honest with ourselves for a moment. How many of us have felt that sharp pang of resentment when another Black woman achieves something remarkable? That insidious voice that whispers, "Why her and not me?" That voice doesn't belong to you. It's the echo of a system meticulously designed to keep us fighting over crumbs instead of demanding and creating the entire bakery. Internalized oppression functions like a slow acting poison we've been fed for so long that we've mistaken it for nourishment. It manifests as the belief that there simply isn't enough. Not enough opportunities, not enough recognition, not enough space for all of us to flourish simultaneously. And it reveals itself through competition, harsh judgment, and a profound disconnection from each other. During our interview, Carmel shared something that stopped me in my tracks. The most revolutionary act a Black woman can perform is to love another Black woman without reservation, without competition, without the scarcity mindset that tells us only one of us can shine at a time. This isn't easy work. It requires us to excavate the ways we've internalized harmful narratives about ourselves and each other. It demands that we examine our reflexive judgments, our unconscious biases, and our tendency to hold other Black women to impossible standards that we ourselves could never meet. But the reward for doing this difficult internal work? Liberation. Not just personal freedom, but a collective liberation that extends to every Black woman in our circle and far beyond. I was particularly moved by the research Carmel referenced from Brittany Miles on how Black women use beauty and fashion as forms of embodied resistance. This isn't superficial vanity, though let's be clear, we excel in that arena too. It's about reclaiming ownership of our bodies, our aesthetics, and our self expression in a society that has historically attempted to control, devalue, and systematically erase Black women's beauty. When a Black woman chooses to wear her natural hair in a corporate environment that has deemed it unprofessional, that's not just a style choice, that's resistance. When she adorns her body with vibrant colors and bold patterns in space that would prefer her to be invisible, that's resistance. When she celebrates her curves in a world that simultaneously fetishizes and shames them, that's resistance. But what transforms this resistance from individual acts of courage into a movement is when Black women actively support each other in these expressions, when we genuinely complement each other's creative choices, when we build businesses specifically designed to meet our unique beauty needs, when we fight together against discriminatory policies that target our hair and bodies. As Carmel powerfully noted, despite our diverse backgrounds and experiences, Black women unite in using beauty as a form of resistance. We have ingeniously transformed what was intended to oppress us into a powerful source of connection and collective strength. This brings me to the third transformative theme: the unmatched power of collective resilience and empowerment. Black women have never been strangers to resilience. We've had to be resilient simply to survive. But there's a profound difference between the exhausting resilience of mere survival and the generative resilience of collective thriving. The first depletes us, the second replenishes and multiplies our power. Since 2020, we've witnessed a remarkable shift in how Black women approach self love and community care. Carmel described this as the emergence of healed girl energy, a movement where Black women are prioritizing their healing, establishing intentional boundaries, and selectively choosing relationships that honor rather than deplete their spirits. This isn't selfish, it's sacred because a Black woman who truly knows her worth transforms everything around her. She raises children who understand their inherent value. She builds businesses that authentically serve her community. She creates art that tells our untold stories. She advocates for policies that protect our fundamental rights. And perhaps most crucially, she shows other Black women what's possible when we refuse to settle for less than we deserve. During our conversation, Caramel emphasized that this collective healing isn't merely personal, it is profoundly political. When Black women choose to love themselves and each other, they're actively rejecting centuries of messaging that told them they weren't worthy of love, care, or basic respect. The most powerful form of resistance, she asserted, is Black women choosing each other, choosing to support each other's businesses, choosing to mentor each other, choosing to heal together, choosing to celebrate each other's victories as if they were their own. This isn't just inspiring rhetoric, it's transformative action with tangible results that we're witnessing everywhere around us. We see it in organizations like the NCNW that continue their relentless fight for economic justice and educational opportunities for Black women and girls. We see it in the way Black women entrepreneurs are creating robust support networks, investing in each other's businesses, and building economic power together instead of competing for limited resources. We see it in how Black women are reclaiming their time, their energy, and their fundamental right to rest, rejecting the strong Black woman stereotype that has kept too many of us chronically exhausted and emotionally depleted. We see it in the healing spaces Black women are creating for each other, sacred spaces where we can be vulnerable, where we can temporarily set down our armor, where we can simply breathe without explanation or apology. So, where do we go from here? How do we continue and expand this revolution of sisterhood? It begins with intention, with making a conscious decision every single day to actively support the Black women in your life, not just with encouraging words, but with concrete actions. It means amplifying their voices when they speak truth to power. It means recommending them for opportunities they deserve. It means celebrating their wins without qualification or reservation. It means checking in on them when the world becomes unbearably heavy. It means holding space for their grief, their joy, their growth, and yes, even their setbacks. It means rigorously examining your own bias and competitive impulses and deliberately choosing connection over comparison every time. It means creating or joining spaces where Black women can gather, heal, strategize, and dream together without censorship or judgment. It means mentoring younger Black women and being mentored by our elders, creating an intergenerational exchange of wisdom and innovation that honors our past while building our future. And perhaps most importantly, it means practicing radical self love as a revolutionary act. Because you cannot genuinely support other Black women if you're depleted, if you're running on empty, if you're giving from a place of scarcity rather than abundance. The revolution of sisterhood isn't just about changing how we relate to each other, it's about transforming how we see ourselves. It's about rejecting the lie that says we must compete to survive. It's about embracing the truth that when we support each other, we don't just survive, we thrive beyond imagination. This isn't just a beautiful concept. This is the blueprint for our liberation. When Black women choose each other, we don't just change individual lives, we change systems. We create new possibilities. We rewrite narratives. We build futures worthy of our ancestors' wildest dreams. So I challenge you today. What would fundamentally change in your life if you committed to supporting the Black women around you as if their success directly contributed to your own? What would transform in our communities if every Black woman made and kept this commitment? The answer is clear. Everything would change because when Black women truly support each other, we don't just rise, we soar beyond the limitations others have set for us. And from that height, we can finally see the world not just as it is, but as it should be. The revolution has already begun. The only question that remains is, will you join us?